So you must be here to hear something spiritual, but I'm going to tell you something material. Total material knowledge. I'm going to talk about how it's dangerous for you to take a loan in present day situation to buy a home. And why am I going to talk about it? The reason is in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Ashantasya kuta sukham. If you are ashanta, that means if you are mentally disturbed, how can you ever have sukham? And beyond sukham is ananda, which is spiritual bliss. So if you want to really focus on God, on do meditation, etc., it would be advisable to have certain prerequisites, which is a peaceful mind, being able to have a physical body which doesn't have too much problem. It helps. Not that that is paramount, but it helps. So we are going to talk about material life, material well-being, which will help you then to step into the next stage, which is spirituality. Let us look at the situation we had in the early 2000s, 2001, 2002, 3, etc. A home, a regular home, a 2-bedroom house in Bangalore would have cost you around 10,000 rupees in rental. Now the same house, if you were to take 100% loan, which is very difficult to get, but I'm just for the sake of calculation, would have been about 14,000 or 15,000. And if you had managed to put a few lakh rupees from your side, a few lakhs, that means let's say 20% of the loan amount you had of the total value of the property you had put into from your side, and remaining 80% you had taken a loan, your loan amount would have been about 12,000 to 13,000 rupees. So your rental would have been 10,000, your loan would have been around 13,000. And your tax every month that you would have had to pay would have been around 4,500 to 5,000 rupees, depending on what your income was. So if that was the case, if you put your rent plus your tax that you paid monthly, it would have been around 14 to 15,000 rupees. And if you took an EMI, you would have been paying 13,000 and no tax, because your loan would have made your tax, because you had tax exemptions. So essentially you benefited by buying a flat or a small house. So a lot of people did that. But move to 2025, which is now, and look at the price of the home. 1.5 crores, including interiors, etc., would cost you 150 lakhs. Whereas in those days it was around 14-15 lakhs. Today it is 150 lakhs, 10 times more for a similar apartment. And your EMI would be upwards of 100,000, 1 lakh a month. And if you were to take the same flat on rent, you would have got it at 25,000 rent plus around 5,000 as your maintenance, depending on the kind of apartment maintenance. So around 30,000 rupees would be your total outflow. So look at it, your EMI is so much more and your rental is much lower. So what is smarter in today's scenario is to go and take the place on rent, because already these apartments have been overvalued. And if you continue to buy apartments and homes at such overvalued prices, you're just going to make the prices go higher and higher, and when they crash, you lose a lot. And a lot of people I know are really struggling because they're unable to pay their EMIs, because sometimes they're losing their jobs. It's a double income family. One of the people who was earning has stopped earning because there are kids or some other requirements. So please be careful. Don't go in for a loan. And even if you have a lot of corpus, it is not the best time to invest in a house or an apartment, because the prices are too high. That's the first point. Second, look at alternative investment opportunities available to you. I'm not saying that you should invest in other places. I'm not recommending. But if you look at mutual funds, large cap mutual funds will give you a return of around 20%. Mid caps will give you around 30%, and small caps can give you up to 40% per annum returns. Right? So that is the level of return on your investment. And if you were to buy gold, in the last 3 years, gold has nearly doubled. So that's another good opportunity for you to invest in if you really need to invest. FDs are giving you close to 8% if you put it in the name of your parents, senior citizens, etc. Or it can give you higher. If you were to invest in a small business on the side, depends, how well your business is doing, but a lot of people are going that route. So please remember that it may not be the smartest thing to do in today's economy, in under today's pricing situation, to buy an apartment, because the prices of apartments have gone up over 10 times in the last, let's say, 20 years. Wow, that's smart, isn't it? Let me buy now, because in the next 15-20 years it will go up another 10 times. No, that's an impossibility, because there is a fair value for any particular asset. Now the other thing I want to tell you is, if you have an old apartment or an old house, once the house is around 10 to 15 years old, people only pay you for the land on which the house exists. They put zero value to the house. That's the first thing. For apartments, I give you examples. Suppose there's a new apartment next to you. The carpet area inside the apartment may be smaller than your apartment, but the cost of that apartment will be twice the selling price of your present old apartment, which is maybe 15 years old or 20 years old. So that's another thing to consider, that as your apartment gets older, its value diminishes in relation to a similar apartment which is new in the same vicinity, even if your apartment is bigger than the neighboring one. So remember, it's not very wise to invest in apartments. So focus on putting your money in the right place. Avoid unnecessary tensions, because if you take a loan, you'll have to struggle to keep repaying it. Whereas if you don't have any loans, you are free of debt. You can quit your career at any time and focus on spirituality or the other things that matter to you in your life. You don't have to struggle to work even if you don't want to, just because you have loans to repay. And remember, it is very hard to sell an asset like a house or an apartment easily at the right price. I'm going to put at the end of this video, I'm going to try and put quite a few links to various statistics and data and information and maybe other videos which will prove to you that it's not a wise thing to buy. In today's scenario, it's better to rent. Thank you so much. Have a nice day and all the best with your life.